When life feels like a storm-tossed sea, it is to the arms of Jesus that we must run. There is a yearning in the human heart, a deep, aching desire for safety, for guidance, for a love that will not falter, and in his arms we find all this and more. As C.S. Lewis so beautifully illustrated, God became man to turn creatures into sons, not simply to produce better men of the old kind, but to produce a new kind of man. In the embrace of Christ, we are not only held but transformed. To be held by Jesus is not merely to find comfort, it is to find rest for the soul. Come to me, all who labour and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest, he promises. Matthew 11:28. These are not empty words. They are the profound assurance that in his arms the world's chaos cannot touch us. In him we are safe, even when circumstances would suggest otherwise. His loving arms encircle us, not to shield us from every trial, but to give us strength to endure them with grace and peace. Lewis understood the paradox of grace, that the same God who demands everything from us also gives us everything in return. The Christian way is different, harder and easier. Christ says, "Give me all." I don't want so much of your time and so much of your money and so much of your work. I want you. To be led by his unfailing grace is to relinquish our self-will and trust his perfect plan, even when the path is obscured. In the moments when we feel lost or uncertain, we can take comfort in knowing that Jesus is both the shepherd and the way. His grace is not a fleeting kindness, but an unending river, flowing toward us no matter how often we stumble. It is not earned, it is given freely, abundantly, and without measure. We need only to accept it. "Hold me, Lord," becomes our prayer in moments of despair, and his response is always the same. I am here. It is in his embrace that we find courage to face our fears, and in his leading that we discover the strength to rise above them. As Lewis might remind us, our smallness does not disqualify us from his grace, it magnifies it. For when we are weakest, his power is made perfect. So let us rest in his arms, not as a retreat from the world, but as preparation to engage it with his strength. Let us follow where his grace leads, knowing that it will never fail us. In his love we are held, by his grace we are led, and through his power we are made new.